This woman says, I can't get along with my teenage daughter. We can't get along. I said, when you go out running an errand, ask her to come with you. Doesn't that sound nice? The mother said, why? Why? Just to be together. You can be apart or you can be together. Well, what will we talk about? You have to prepare a speech for your daughter? I don't know whose fault it is, but look at what's going on. She's uncomfortable with her daughter's presence. What do you think the daughter is thinking? She doesn't even want me around her. You find yourself avoiding your kid. Fix it. Don't expect him to fix it. So do you have to say something? You have to be brilliant? You have to... No. So if your kid knows that whenever you have an opportunity to be with him, you go for it, you ask for it, there's no greater compliment than that.
How are people supposed to navigate their spouse's relationship with the opposite sex? Obviously, we're not supposed to have relationships with the opposite sex, but what are some general guidelines about, in today's society, what's okay, what's not okay, what's the line, what's the... I hope I'm doing justice to the question.
I hear you. So I heard from a very holy man, Billy Graham. Somebody asked him, when all these television... televangelists were getting themselves into trouble and being arrested. Somebody asked him, how come there was never a scandal about you? He says, because one of my mentors, whatever, told me when I became a minister or whatever, said to me, never give a woman a ride home. You're a minister, you got to stay clean. So he never gave his secretary a ride home, even when she really needed it. He never met in a restaurant over lunch with a woman. He followed the guidelines. But he ministered to women. They loved him. He just drew the lines and carefully and stuck to it. So if you're careful with the yichud, if you're confident that you're not intending anything too personal or too intimate, then you can trust yourself and your wife will trust you. So if you follow the rules and you're honest, there won't be a problem.
Put cameras everywhere. Is there a nuance to the question about your spouse's relationships with the opposite gender? And I think from what I read, it's 2 emails basically about, I guess it's a wife complaining about her husband's relationship with women.
Mm-hmm.
And
Usually.
And trying to understand what's supposed to be my relationship with my wife in understanding her relationship with men, basically. Like what's kosher, what's not kosher.
Mm-hmm. And that's what the issue should be. What's kosher, not what's suspicious. Don't turn on each other. Follow the rules. You're not following the rules? Follow the rules. I had an interesting experience when we had the Chabad house in Minnesota, and the women would come for Beis Chana. Back in the 70s, many of the women had nothing to do. They weren't in school, they weren't working, they were hippies. So they would stay. After the program was over, they would stay, which was fine. There was one girl there from Crown Heights, and she decided to stay for a week, 2 weeks, whatever it was. I get a phone call from the Chabad house that this girl has a guy in her room. So I go over there and I ask her to come out. She comes out. She was, well, what was that called when you everything was black? You wore black nail polish. Huh? Gothic? Something. She was into that. Anyway, so she comes out, and I say, what's going on? She says, there's a boy, he's very distraught. He's a little suicidal, and I'm trying to calm him down. So I said, oh, that's very nice. But you know, he might be thinking, if he was normal and healthy, you wouldn't let him into your bedroom. You're letting him into your bedroom because he's a little weird. That's not going to work in his favor. So tell him to come outside and you'll talk to him like a mensch. She says, right. She did. They spoke. She stopped with the black nail polish. And she became feminine again. So don't demonize the person. Just ask for the rules to be followed. Do the right thing. Anyway.
Okay. So I feel like you already touched on this earlier, but this is a question about chinuch. I have a hard time telling my kids to do things such as daven or be productive. How can I ask them to do things in a way that is not nagging or annoying?
So, not nagging and not annoying can be worded a little differently. Don't push. Don't push kids to do anything. Pushing means you're standing behind him, pushing him forward. Don't push. Pull. Never from behind. I'm going to shul. You want to come with me? I'm going to bench now. You want to bench with me? Never push. Go bench. I mean, this is so obvious once you think about it. Go bench, go daven, go means get out of my sight. That's what they're hearing. Go. It should never come across that way. And that means that if you're not benching, don't tell your kid to bench.
Would you say pulling language would include asking questions like, did you daven today?
No.
No.
Pulling means I'm going, come with me. Not interrogating.
But practically, if you're not actually going to daven or to bench, you're
Then
not
don't
gonna
tell
say
your...
to child?
No. Create a path that they will want to follow. If you're not creating a path, leave them alone.
So can you say, lead by example only, and not even have to say, come, you want to join me?
I know, but lead by example is such a cliche. Create a lifestyle that they want to follow and want to run to keep up with you. That's how families always worked. The kids saw the parents doing something good, special, and they couldn't wait to grow up and do the same. Whatever it was. If the father was a butcher, the kid couldn't wait to grow up and be a butcher. Today, kids dread growing up. No matter whether you're a butcher, a baker, or a candlestick maker, they don't want. So you have to create a lifestyle that children find irresistible. A sad story. This woman says, I can't get along with my teenage daughter. We can't get along. I said, when you go out, running an errand, ask her to come with you. Doesn't that sound nice? Ask her to come with you. The mother said, why? I said, whoa, this is a serious problem. Why? I said, just to be together. You can be apart or you can be together. She says, well, what will we talk about? You have to prepare a speech for your daughter? You see what's going on here? I don't know whose fault it is. I don't know who started this, but look at what's going on. She's uncomfortable with her daughter's presence. What do you think the daughter is thinking? She hates me, I'm adopted, the whole thing. She doesn't even want me around her. The Rebbe Rashab, when the Frierdiker Rebbe was working, running the yeshiva, he had his office. The Rebbe Rashab had his office. Every once in a while, the Rashab would push the intercom button and say, "Come in." For what? Bring your work and come in. The pleasure of being together. So if your kid knows that whenever you have an opportunity to be with him, you go for it, you ask for it, there's no greater compliment than that. So do you have to say something? You have to be brilliant? You have to... No. This guy who back in the 60s started the men's movement, Iron John. Does that mean anything? Yes?
Yeah, with John Bly.
Yeah, Bly.
Yeah.
He started this men's movement, and he wrote this book, Iron John. Anyway, he tells a story. He was an alcoholic. His father was an alcoholic. It was bad news. So he remembers whenever he would come home, when he was an adult, whenever he would come home, they would end up with him sitting in the kitchen with his mother, talking, and his father was sitting in front of the television in the living room. Every single time. And he was building up a resentment against his father. Until one day he realized the father was not ignoring them, they were ignoring him. So he decided that from now on, when he goes home, he sits on the couch next to his father. And it was very uncomfortable. But after a few attempts, all of a sudden the father said something, he said something. Their relationship became wonderful. If you find yourself avoiding your kid, fix it. Don't expect him to fix it. If you enjoyed this conversation or this topic, and you're looking for more information, or you want to hear it again from another angle, there is a way to do that. And that is in this book. It's all there. Order it from Amazon. You can read it, reread it, and share it.